17, you are cleared for approach. If you're a veteran to my channel, you know that we mostly do industrial-based content, but the organization does an enormous amount of military maneuvers as well. And in this case, we were practicing dropship procedures. A dropship pilot plays a critical role in the success of any ground mission. With rule number 1, get your fighting forces on the ground safely and get out of there. And then also be ready to extract your fighting forces as well. And you would think that that would be, just fly in and land and drop them off. There's a lot more to it than that. And so a small group of us, this is certainly, not a large operation. A small group of us were working out some of the details and some of the theory crafting around dropship practices and procedures, and working through some documents that were drawn up by our operations squad leader. And so some of the things that you have to decide on the fly are pretty amazing, and it was a real eye-opener for me. 17, requesting extraction. So in this case, we are actually practicing both parts of the drop. At first, somebody does, of course, insert the troops, and then they fly away, and then they come and extract the troops. And here's some of the things that you really may not be aware of are decisions you have to make. Number 1, you have to identify terrain that is going to be conducive to being able to drop the ramp. That in and of itself can be quite a task. The next thing, of course, is orientating the ship in a way where you're providing cover for the team that you're going to extract. And as you can see here, not everything goes to plan. You really do have to practice this type of stuff, and that's what we were doing tonight. Just kind of seeing how quickly we could offload a couple people, seeing how quickly we could unload a couple people. Now, of course, there are going to be much bigger groups than this that are operationally working. Tonight was really about just kind of making sure that we understood the language that we wanted to use, that we talked about ship orientation, that we discussed kind of the mechanics between like just a normal deployment, a hot drop, a rolling drop, what the difference between an extraction and a hot extraction is, just the different drop scenarios, and then ship classification. Tonight we practiced with terrapins, we practiced with hoplites, and then of course long term we may practice with the Legionnaire as well.
Ground forces cleared for drop.
I think it became very apparent to me right away that there was going to be an enormous amount of drilling required to get this right. And I'm sure that's probably not lost on some of the more military-based organizations or people that run those types of things. But, as you can see, we picked a nighttime. It's not necessarily the worst weather, but you can see there is some weather type things happening, and of course we are trying to do everything as precise as possible in the shortest amount of time. And like I said, for OPSEC, I'm not necessarily sharing with you, all of the different ways that we're doing these calls and that type of thing, but I do think it's important for you to see, kind of what was involved in this, just kind of working the system a little bit, learning as we go. In one case, we actually had some of the engine wash knock one of our participants down. So there's a lot to be learned.
Ground forces requesting extraction.
Ultimately, a certification program is being designed around these concepts, and people need to be able to kind of perform them in different types of scenarios. I mean, if you can perform a hot drop, for instance, you shouldn't have any problem just with a obviously a safe drop or a normal drop. So these are the types of things like that you have to do as an organization. Things like this have to become routine. You have to kind of keep drilling them and drilling them and drilling them until the people that have those responsibilities are very familiar, with exactly how it goes. You really don't want people who are unfamiliar with the roles or the procedures, having responsibilities like this.
Ground forces cleared for advance.
As the night wore on, things got a little smoother, and in this particular case, 13 does a really good job at bringing in the ground forces here. I am riding as a deploy in this particular case, and very smooth job. It actually was a very quick deployment this particular time. Smooth down, smooth out, and smooth up. And smooth up in a way that we weren't going to get engine wash as well, which is a critical thing.
Ground forces requesting extraction.
And finally, I really did enjoy this particular extraction. We're kind of huddled around the posts of these buildings here at this outpost, and we're kind of waiting for extraction. And I do love the way the hoplite kind of comes in over top, reorientates itself to provide cover towards the way that we're facing, and then kind of gets down nice and quickly, very smoothly. Yeah, sure. I mean, it bangs down hard, but it absolutely was a nice, fast extraction, and gave us a nice opportunity to get out of there. So look us up if you're interested in being a dropship pilot. We'll see you all around the verse.